20% on everything except healthcare. I'll make Ontario great again.
Bucket beer.
Welcome to the organizing meeting of the Metro Days of Action. My name is Linda Torney. I'm president of the Toronto and York Region Labour Council, and I'm one of the co-chairs of this big event.
And I'm Margaret Hancock. I'm from the Metro Network for Social Justice, and I'm the other co-chair.
Yes. We are on a roll. We've seen successful days of protests in London, Hamilton, Kitchener, Waterloo, and in Peterborough. The Ontario Federation of Labour has been at the lead in organizing these protests. And together with the OFL, we are going to roll right through Toronto!
In every city, the local labour movement has worked together in a powerful alliance with community organizations. In every place, a labour co-chair and a community co-chair have led the organizing to fight the Mike Harris government.
That's the way to do it.
So now you know how we got here. Wow. We are delighted to see 400 of you here today. It's a sure sign that momentum is growing. And we've got to mobilize each and every one of our members to bring down this nasty government.
Let's begin by finding out why you're all here. Would anyone like to start? Brother.
Yeah, I can start. A lot of low-income people that I'm working with are really suffering now because this government has slashed social assistance benefits by 20% and more. And now they're trying to turn the clock back to the 19th century by bringing in this new workfare program.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I can tell you that people that are on social assistance can't work for their support. We've got to roll back these demeaning measures.
I'm a nurse, and I know, I speak for all of us in the healthcare center. You know, I can't believe what he's doing. He's cutting $1.5 billion from the healthcare budget. Yeah. And now he's closing all these hospitals. How can we provide decent care for the people of Ontario with those kinds of cuts? We have to get this, we have to save the healthcare system and get this monster out of government.
Those of us who've been fighting for more social housing are furious with the government, with the Harris government's cut to the funding for social and non-profit housing. Right. I'm telling you, how are people going to be able to afford to live in this town? They're shoving us into hostels and into motels, and if you can't get into there, where are you going to go? Because there aren't enough of those either.
Well, I can tell you that women's organizations in this city can't believe what the Harris government is doing. They are trying to turn back the clock. The so-called reforms to social assistance, they are hitting women especially hard. And the child care subsidies are being cut. To add insult to injury, the Employment Equity Act passed by the NDP has been killed by Harris. Where will this madness end?
Yeah, well, in my local, I got to say that all the talk is about these new labour laws, Bill 7. Guess what? Bosses can hire scabs again. Ain't that nice? Wow. And it's very hard, much harder to get the union into anyway. Why? Because we don't have a vote even when we've got all the cards signed.
That's terrible.
Not only that, but it's easier to get a union out. And what does this mean? It means Harris is doing exactly what the bosses want.
I hate Mike Harris. He decimated our community of progressive theater artists when he cut the funding to the Ontario Arts Council and to the school arts program.
Shame.
I have no work. And the theater company I worked with for 10 years lost its operating grant. And it's not just about pushing us artists into 9-to-5 jobs. We're raising kids without the arts. We will have devastating consequences.
That's right. You say it.
We teachers are furious too. The Harris has cut over $1 billion in the education budget. And now the teachers lack supplies and resources in the classroom. Our students are suffering. Those goons have no idea what it costs to educate our kids.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what? The cuts are hitting secondaries, post-secondary students too. Students like me in universities and colleges. Our tuition has gone up 20%. We got to get this government out.
Here, here.
Yeah, I echo that. I work for the government, like many of you here, and you would not believe the cuts in public services that are going on. Thousands and thousands of jobs have been either eliminated or privatized.
Whoa.
First Nations people are pissed at this government too. Riverwash Provincial Park is on Indian land.
Yeah.
When we asked to get it back, Mike Harris said, "Get those fucking Indians out."
Yeah, that's a hell of a way of him.
After that, 12 hours later, a young man named Dudley George of Ware was shot and killed.
Murder.
Murdered by an OPP sniper.
Murder.
That's just not right.
No.
This government has no respect for historical agreements or First Nations rights.
Absolutely right, brother.
Those of us working in communities of faith are upset too. This government is fundamentally immoral.
Yeah, that's right.
It is violating all standards of social justice. Let's work together to bring it down.
Thanks for all of your contributions. This has been a great start. I think that we're really getting to know. Let's take a short coffee break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the logistics of organizing the Metro Days of Action.
Oh my God, this is such a promising start. I mean, look at all of the different groups represented here. I think that there are 200 unions and community organizations that are ready to join the organizing committee. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but you know, there weren't many people of color. I wish this group wasn't quite so white.
Yeah, I hear you, sister. We got to include everybody.
Yeah, let's say something when we start up the meeting again, okay?
Well, what I got to say is that I don't know whether this whole Days of Action thing is actually going to work. I mean, we've been going from city to city across the province stirring things up, but there doesn't seem to be any overall strategy to it. I mean, how's this supposed to bring down the government? Are we just making a lot of noise and letting off steam?
Well, there's some truth in that. There are lots of labor and community coalitions across Ontario, but it is the unions calling the shots. And you know, we don't really know how to work with unions very well. We're not used to it.
Let's be honest, sister. The unions are paying the money, okay? And when you pay the money, you know what the consequences are. And it's giving us resources that you never had before.
Okay.
Like 70 people booked off for the Metro Days of Action. Come on.
All right, okay. But Labour is still in control of the agenda, and they're not letting these city-by-city protests build up momentum. I think what we need is a general strike, a province-wide general strike. Harris will listen to that.
Okay. Don't get me wrong. Okay? I'm going along with these Days of Action because we have to show that we're pissed off. Okay? There's no doubt about that. But there's plenty of other things that we have to consider. For example, my union says maybe we should focus a bit more on getting the NDP back in. Or at least letting them speak at some of these rallies. Well, some of them are saying that maybe, like the brother says, all this marching around Ontario towns, up and down and so on, maybe it's a little bit of a waste of our time and energy.
I don't think that
That's
we're
what they say.
wasting. I don't think that we're wasting their time. I mean, we have to show there are thousands of people out there who hate what this government is doing. We have to help each other. We have to support each other. We can. If we all get it together, we can bring down this horrible, horrible government. Totally agree.
Yeah, okay. Let's all work together to make this the best and loudest day of action ever.
Yeah. Woo! Woo!
Good morning, Toronto. This is Mark Manley at the CHXX News Desk. We have a grim report for you this morning. The city of Toronto lies crippled on this first of the so-called days of action. We have reports of at least 300 picket lines disrupting legitimate business across the city. Most of these, of course, are so-called cross-picketers, who don't work for the company but have showed up simply to intervene and prevent regular employees from arriving for their jobs. Many industrial plants are closed, and the economic impact on the city is bound to be devastating. And don't expect to get much public service today. Metro's employees are off the job everywhere. There's no garbage collection, there is no recreation centers open, and even the civic politicians are having difficulty reaching their offices. While Mayor Barbara Hall spent 90 minutes this morning waiting on Nathan Phillips Square to get into hers. The schools are all closed because the Board of Education played into the hands of the disruptors by declaring a professional day. And poor old York University is once again closed with picket lines at all its gates. We are expecting rallies in various parts of the city later today, but at the moment the streets are quiet. Most workers, it seems, have simply decided to stay home for the day. We'll have further reports as more events unfold.
Organize, educate, resist! 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 Organize, educate, resist!
Hey, I was just over by the Ministry of the Environment, and we charged Mike Harris with destroying the environment. We put him on trial, arrested him, and sent him to jail.
You should have been over at the stock exchange. You know, there were thousands of us out there trying to break through police lines. Amazing stuff. Something else.
Hey! Those are the guys we met. Hey, guys! Are we organizing? Wow! It was an amazing day. Yeah. Wow! We are going to really sweep it up. I mean, look at all of the crowds of people today that are out here to close down the city.
We shut the whole friggin' place down.
We have.
We're in the street, demonstrating, picketing, having fun. This is it.
Oh my God,
Something
that
else.
was incredible. Hey, let's go to the Ministry of... Yes, of Education. I heard there's a huge rally there. You want to come with us?
Okay, sure.
Let's go.
Anywhere. Let's go.
Good morning, Toronto. Mark Manley on the streets of Toronto for CHXX News. This is day 2 of the days of action. Thousands of workers are surging through the streets of Toronto, preparing to confront the Mike Harris government in an enormous demonstration at Queen's Park. Hundreds of signs and thousands of signs and banners and flags can be seen on every street corner. Hundreds of buses have arrived from points across the province. Where, you might ask, are the workers who voted for Mike Harris? Well, some of them might be here at the Metro Convention Centre, where the Progressive Conservatives are holding a major policy conference. Police and riot gear have sealed off the building, but we've been able to find one delegate who will speak to us. Mr. Jonathan Martindale is an accountant from General Motors in Oshawa and sits on his Riding Association executive. Mr. Martindale, what do you think of all this commotion?
These people should all just go home. They don't represent anyone. They're just a bunch of special interest groups who want to create chaos. They're being manipulated by big labor. Now, Mr. Harris and his government, they're fine people who have the best interests of everyone at heart.
Thank you. Well, we also have one of the protesters. I believe his name is Bill Monroe.
That's right.
Mr. Monroe, what do you make of what Mr. Martindale just said?
What do I make of it? He's out to lunch just like the rest of the Tories. They don't care about us. They're carrying out the Tory agenda. It's absolutely disgusting the way that they're just completely trampling over our rights. We have to do something about it, and I'm glad there are thousands of us out here today.
Thank you. Well, there you have it. Clearly, the workers of this province are deeply divided in their support for the Harris government. We will have further reports as the Great March gets underway.
Organize, educate, resist. Organize, educate, resist.
Organize, educate, resist. Organize, educate, resist. Organize, educate, resist.
No!
Organize, educate, resist. Organize, educate, resist.
Me too. I never dreamed we would get so many people out. It's fantastic.
There are students.
Students. There were welfare mothers from Parkdale. There were seniors from Scarborough. It's
From a diverse crowd.
There is power in the union.
And all that leafleting in different languages, it brought everybody out. I heard that there were 250,000 people here. Parents cannot ignore this kind of anger.
I got to admit, you were right from the beginning. People want to stand up to Mike Harris and his gang of bullies. Civics 101. It's not about a pencil in a ballot box. This is what democracy looks like.
Yeah, I'm not so skeptical now.
Yeah.
250,000 people will still be smiling on Monday. Yes. And then we're all going to go out there and we're going to get some new energy and we're going to carry on the fight against this Harris government.
The struggle continues.
Yeah.
This is the most important protest I have ever been part of. And as Billy Bragg sang in the thing that's on the back of your sheet, the times,
they're changing.
The times, they're changing.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you'd better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing.
Here we are.
Forever defending our rights. Down with the black legs, the workers unite. With our brothers and our sisters, together we will stand. There is power in a union.